Hello everybody, my name is Richard and I'm bringing a review of the long-awaited Fluval Chi Aquarium. Alright, so let's get into it. Now the Fluval Chi tank comes in two sizes, a 5-gallon and a 6.6. Now I know that they're kind of hard to find in stores right now, so I'd probably say your best bet for finding one is to go to Amazon, which right now they're running a huge promotion on. I got my Fluval Chi for 40 bucks. Think about that, 40 bucks. You get a full tank that looks like this for 40 bucks. It's supposed to be 80, but anyways, I digress. Now, the Fluval Chi has a very unorthodox design when it comes to aesthetics. Now, normally fish tanks are kind of just your clunky box with a big hood and a light and a filter, and that's it. This tank here, however, stepped it up a notch when it comes to design. Carrying on with the success of the Fluval Edge, the Fluval Chi was designed with one thing in mind, to be a centerpiece rather than just something that looks nice in your living room or in your bedroom. Now, the Fluval Chi's small footprint has a few pros and cons. Now, some of the pros with this tank, as you're probably figuring out, is that if you don't have a ton of space for a fish tank, you can go ahead and throw this puppy anywhere. You can put it in a kitchen, you can put it in your office, in your cubicle, you can put it in your living room, wherever you have room. As long as you have, I'd say, about roughly 8 by 8 inches, let's go ahead and call it 9 by 9. You have 9 by 9 inches, you can probably throw this thing down no problem. Another thing you want to keep in mind too is because it's small, it means less overhead in the sense that it's not a huge tank. So essentially the cost of owning a Fluval Chi is not going to be that high. So this is definitely a tank great for kids. Now, a couple drawbacks. Number one, the tank does not come with a hood. If you want a hood with your tank, I do recommend buying the hood online on Amazon. They do sell it in a kit that comes with the hood. So if you have pets, like my very curious cat, well, you're probably going to want to get a hood. I didn't, because I'm going to be mounting this thing in my room where I know my cat can't get to it. Bite my tongue. But other than that, if you do have pets, I would recommend getting the one with a cover. Another thing you probably want to know about this too is the lighting. Now, for many of us who do planted aquariums, as I was hinting at earlier, you're going to want to make sure that you get plants that are low light, simply because this unit only has 11 LEDs in the bottom. Now, whether these are high output or not, I can't really vouch for, but judging from the fact that one of the things it comes with is a little box, more on that later, you're probably going to want to grow at least 1 or 2 plants inside for those of us who really just don't like having those fake things inside of our aquariums. No judgment there, just saying I kind of like to have real plants, and it just means it's harder for me down the road, but I think it's worth the overhead. So if you're gonna grow a plant in here, definitely just keep that in mind. Don't go too crazy, otherwise you're gonna have to get external lighting kits, and you're kind of defeating the point of the Fluval Chi to begin with. Just go with the flow of energy. That's what we're going for. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is what the Fluval Chi comes with. Now, the Fluval Chi comes with 2 little bottles, your power adapter, and this. Now, let's start with the most obvious of the two 2 little bottles. Now, we've got a tap water dechlorinator and essentially a bacterial supplement for the tank. I'm not going to go into why you need to make sure you use your bacterial supplement for the tank, but just do a quick Google search for what you call cycling an aquarium. It's going to be a little complex, but I do recommend you stick with it and find out how to essentially cycle an aquarium, because if you don't, you're probably going to come back and find a bunch of dead fish within 2 or 3 days because, well, your aquarium wasn't cycled. It's like swimming in poisoned water for them. Now, the tap water dechlorinator is pretty obvious. A lot of us with this tank will not be going and fetching RO water to pour inside of it, except for the most hardcore of the bunch, who probably already have thousands of dollars worth of fish tank gear. So, for the rest of us who use plain old tap water, you're going to want to go ahead and get tap water dechlorinator inside that tank once you have the water poured in. Now, I've already taken the liberty to essentially strip the tank down, get it cleaned up, wash my substrate. Make sure you wash your substrate before you put it in. Just, quick run through, put it in a colander. If it's really fine, you can probably sift it around and strain it with a coffee strainer. That'll work. Make sure you wash it down, throw it in. I've already got it set up, so we're going to go into that a little later. Now, the third thing I wanted to show you. As you see, I'm tossing it around as a bag of rocks. I just find this exceptionally hilarious simply because it's like I was not expecting to find a bag of rocks inside of my aquarium when I bought it, seeing it was shipped. So I feel bad for Amazon. They're paying extra shipping for what is essentially going to be hundreds of pounds of rocks you can find in your backyard, unless you live in any part of the US or world that doesn't have aquatic areas or areas that used to be underwater, in which case you'll probably be happy they came. But either way, fun little note, does come with rocks to put inside your little bowl that you put up top here. So we're going to go ahead and get into the aquarium, get it set up, get some water in there, get it running, and then we're going to do a nice little kind of couple glamour shots of the aquarium running.
Alright, as you can see, the tank has finally been set up. Now, what I've gone ahead and done is essentially put in a water heater. It's a tiny one I got off of Amazon, nothing too serious, but you know, one of the priorities you want with the tank is to keep the water temperature stable. As you can see, the tank has a beautiful aesthetic with a little fountain up top that is actually LED illuminated on its own. So it's illuminated whether you turn off the light at the bottom or not, which I think is a very nice feature. Honestly, it would be nice if there was a switch to turn that off completely, because that could be something that people would essentially want to turn off. I could just see that being something, but it's a small point to nitpick on because it does make a rather nice night light, and it's very soothing to watch when you're in bed. Now, in terms of substrate, I decided to go with the Carib Sea Triple Power Play. What this essentially is just Carib Sea Floramax, planted aquarium substrate. It's a very gravelly kind of substrate. It's neither too loose nor too compact. It's neither too fine or too large. It does not look like dirt because it actually feels a bit like stone, but it just has a very nice aesthetic. But I also got it because of the fact that it's for plants, as the name should hint. I've also gone ahead and put in some Carib Sea Arid Alive. I have the Hawaiian Black and the Fuji Pink. Now, the thing I want to say about the Arid Alive is that you do not have to wash this substrate. It actually comes moist because it's keeping the bacteria inside the bag alive. This helps to cut down on nitrate levels inside of your tank and helps to promote just a healthy tank overall in terms of the decomposition cycle. Now, another thing I do want to point out with the tank is the fact that the stones that go on top is a very nice addition. It does help to essentially mitigate the light up top, so I'm going to guess that that might be the off switch for it. However, I personally like it without it. I think the tank just looks a lot better with that little, you know, illuminated fountain at the top. For those of you who are wondering, however, what plant is in the middle of my aquarium, I've gone ahead and put down Sturgeon Rapens, just one little sprout right in the middle. Sturgeon Rapens is a carpeting plant, however it can grow about 2 to 3 inches high, a little more if you let it go, but what I suggest doing is if you go the Sturgeon Rapens route, keep it trimmed, plant the shoots, and you should essentially have a carpet in no time. The reason I chose Sturgeon Rapens is because I feel as though it's a pretty fairly decent plant in terms of lighting. It's not too picky, but it does require some lighting. So I want to see exactly how it's going to perform with the LED lighting underneath the filter, and if it grows, then it goes. If it dies, well, say goodbye. At that point, we'll know whether the Fluval Chi is really cut out to be a planted aquarium or not, even though we already know that it's not really the goal of this tank. The tank is more or less designed to be, you know, something that looks good without needing plants per se. Point I do want to nitpick on with the tank is that I do find that the wiring in the back is pretty ugly, in the sense that because the tank is essentially a glass cube all around, you do see the wires coming out the back if you hang them down. So I would probably either go with a mirrored back, you know, like some sort of wrap for the back of the tank, simply because of the fact that it'll hide the wiring. Even though it does kind of take away from the aesthetic of the tank, I've gone ahead and just simply pinned the wires up and brought them off to the side of the tank so they don't hang at the back. So essentially it's an almost uncompromised view 360 degrees around the tank. I think that's a nice compromise, but it is just one of those little nitpick features. All around, this tank has been completely easy to build. It's actually one of the easiest tanks I've ever had the pleasure of building, simply because of the fact that it's just as straightforward as it comes. Slide the filter on, throw water and substrate inside, put some water in the filter, and plug it in, and it's good to go. The tank, overall, I give a 10 out of 10 for looks. I'd say functionality-wise, I give the tank a 7 out of 10 simply because of the fact that it is very limiting in terms of what you can grow inside of it. If you're not looking to grow anything inside the tank, then I do say the tank does get a solid 10 out of 10 for functionality, because of the fact that it's, let's face it, it's a tank, it looks good, the filtration unit is elegantly designed with this waterfall theme that it has going on, and just all around, this tank is a knockout punch for decor. It would completely set off a cubicle or an office space. I can definitely see this being a focal point of many conversations to come. And in terms of fish, I can definitely see a betta fish just having a blast living inside of this tank. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a like. I would really appreciate it too if you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel, as I will be having more videos, and I'm currently trying to get a few people to sponsor me. And I want to make more of these videos for the aquarium community, because I feel as though we do need to have more of these around to help out people who are just simply looking for the right product for their needs. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Richard Prasad, and this is Captured Society. Have a great day, folks, and I'll see you in the next video.